angle. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today for Pink Rhythm Pilates. All right. And everything. Okay. Thank you for joining me for Pink Rhythm Pilates. If you have a pillow nearby you, grab it for today. It will definitely give you some assistance. Okay. All right. So take your pillow and just kind of toss it behind your head. I'm going to start here with just a little bit of warming up through your upper body, just some nice gentle stretches to help you get moving. For those of you that have never done Pink Ribbon Pilates before, it was designed by a physical therapist to help people through the rehab process, but it's really just generally great for getting moving, working through your upper body, loosening up any tightness and tension. And for those of us that have just been at home and doing entirely too much sitting throughout this period, that's great too. So let's start with those arms straight up into the air. Reach up through those hands. I'm going to reach your arms straight up into the air and then take them straight back down. So basically you're protracting and retracting your shoulder blades. So your fingertips are going as high to the sky as they can, and then they're sinking down either into the ground underneath you or into your pillow. I have made the choice that the tops of my shoulders are actually resting on my pillow. And let's do one more of those, just using that exhale to sink. And then let's take those shoulders down here and let's anchor them down. And then let's reach one fingertip up to the sky and then pull them down. And then reach your other fingertip up to the sky, getting as much as you can see length through the side of your body. And then draw that down. Reach your other arm up and take that down. Reaching and down. Finding a speed that feels good to you as you reach through one arm and then the other. Reaching and retracting. One more of those. And then take both arms down into your mat here. We're going to add some more range of motion here. So let's turn your palms to face towards your feet. And then you're going to bend those elbows down. So your elbows come down to the mat and then reach them back up. Take those arms down to your mat, opening wide through your collarbone, and then reaching that back up, down, wide, reach back up, down, wide, reach back up. One more of those, going wide and back up, and then take that down. And then we're going to let your arms rotate open, and then that down, and then open, and then back down. Open, back down. One more of those in each direction. And then bring your hands back to the middle. And we're going to rotate them in opposition. So one arm goes down, one arm goes up, and then let's rotate them. One arm goes down, one arm comes up, one arm goes down, one arm comes up. And then let's bring that back right to the middle, wherever your elbows land. And then let's take both arms straight up to the sky. And then let's turn your palms in to face one another. Let's take one arm high and one arm low, only going to the point where you feel a little bit of a stretch, not taking that too far. So just checking in with your own body, feeling wide through your collarbone, taking in whatever range of motion your arms will give you today, and then taking that just to the edge of a challenge there, seeing if you can find a little bit more comfortable range of motion as we go through this. And one more of those. And then bring that back. Let your hands come down to your side. Pop your hands onto your hips here and just kind of check in with where they are and what you're feeling. So, are your hips flat to the ground here? Does one feel different than the other? And then let's just move through your lower body a little bit. So, let's slide your tail away. Feel all the space between your low back and the nut just here. And then inhale, release that out, finding a big arch of your back and then slide that tail away. Feel your low back drop into the mat and then release that big arch out. Slide that tail away. Drop your low back into the mat. Release that back out. One more of those. Slide that tail away. Feel your low back drop into the mat. Release that back out. And then let's leave those hands on those hips and let's kind of make that motion a little bit smaller. So don't push all of your back into the mat and then don't let that all go to an arch. And then kind of stop in the middle. And when you feel that sort of natural stop where you want to stop, and you can feel that your low back's in contact with the mat, but it's not pushing way down into the ground. And then we're going to slide one leg long across the room and then bring that leg back to you and then slide your other leg long across the room, bring that back to you, sliding out and back, lengthening and back. One more of those, sliding that leg long and pulling it back to you, and then the other leg long and pulling it back to you. Let's let those hands just come down to your side. Let your knees windshield wiper. Drop one knee to one side, and then one knee, or both knees to the one side, both knees to the other side. You know, one knee, two knees, however that moves. And then bring that back. Float one foot up into a tabletop. Float your other foot up into a tabletop. Let's take one foot down and then your other foot down. One foot up and then your other foot up. One foot down and your other foot down. One foot up and your other foot up. One foot down and your other foot down. Let's take one leg up and your other leg up. Let's hold it here. Let's take one toe down and then bring it back to you. And then take your other toe down and back to you. One toe down and up. Your other toe down and up. And then if you're feeling coordinated, let's let them flow past one another. So one toe goes down as the other toe goes down. And then trying to let them pass in the middle. But checking in with those low, deep transverse abdominals, are they still working for you? Or have you given them too much challenge and you need to go back to resting between them, and the passing of one leg beyond the other one is just a little more than you're ready for now. One more of those, and then bring both knees up. Let's pull them into you. Give them a little hug. Give your other body just a little bit of a strength challenge. So let's put both hands on the outsides of your knees and then bring your knees together. Let those elbows point wide so that they're pointed one across the room. Push your knees open as you push into your hands, trying to create oppositional resistance between the two, trying to meet the forces and challenge your other body to add a little bit of strength training here. And then let's bring them back together. If you're up for a little bit of a challenge, let's leave those legs in this tabletop position and then decide where your other body can go. Will it allow you to bring your hands one on top of the other and rest your hands on your forehead? Do your shoulders open enough for that? If that's not working, you can take your hands down onto your chest with your elbows pointed wide here. you feel like you've got even more range of motion, you can bring your hands behind your head and then leave your elbows pointed to the ceiling. And then we're gonna take your left arm and take it open, following that elbow with your head pushing into the pillow, and then bring that back to center. Take that right arm open to the side, bring it back to center. Checking in with that legs. If you have them lifted, are they still nice and strong? Letting that elbow go open and that closed, open and that closed, open and closed, open and closed, open and closed. One more of those, open and closed. Let's slide your hands down to your side so that they're about a 45-degree angle. If your toes are on the ground, let's all float them up here. Leave those feet and knees glued together. Let's inhale and take them over to the right, letting that left hip lift. And then exhale, pull them back to center. And then go over to the right side, letting that, or left side, letting that right hip lift. And then exhale back to center. Inhale over to the right, left hip lifts. Exhale back to center. Inhale over to the left as your right hip comes off. Let's do 2 more times swaying here, seeing if you can find a little more range of motion. And if it feels okay, look in the oppositional direction that your knees are moving, pushing those hands even more into the ground. And then bring that back to center. Hug those knees back into you. Give them a little squeeze. Got a little challenge for you. Legs come back into your tabletop position. Arms go straight up into the air. Take your fingertips, reach them up to the sky, and then exhale, bring them down to anchor them here. When you get them really anchored, really anchor them, but think wide through your collarbone. And then look up at your hands so that they can't move right and left. Take your knees over to the right, but don't let those arms move. Exhale, pull those legs back to center. Inhale over to the left, let that right hip come off the ground. Exhale back to center. Over to the right, letting those knees flow. Exhale back to center. One more of those. Inhale over to the left. Exhale back to center. Pull those knees back into you for a nice little squeeze. Give those ankles just a little circle here, just so that they get a little love and a little bit of range of motion, whatever they need. All right, from here, let's top your feet down. Let's take your pillow out from underneath your head, which is gonna feel really weird, but pop your between your knees if you have it. If you're not using a pillow, forget it. It's just to give you a little bit of lower body engagement. So let's start by just putting a little pressure into your pillow, giving it a little squeeze, feeling how that creates some energy through your hips, all the way through your lower body. And then let's go to those pelvic tilts. So let's slide that tail away and then release that out. Slide that tail away, release that out. I wanted your neck flat here, just so as we lift your hips up into the air, we're giving plenty of care to your cervical spine. And then as you slide that tail away, roll your hips up into the air, squeezing through those glutes, seeing what kind of lift you can get there, and then roll back and down. And then slide that tail away, roll up, lift those hips up into the air, and then roll back and down. Roll all the way up, lifting, squeeze through that, and then lower back and down. One more of those, rolling up, leaving those hips lifted here. And then let's try to reach out through one leg and then pop that down. Checking in with those hips that they're not rocking, and then reach that other leg out and down. One leg out and down. Other leg out and down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And then let's roll all the way down, and then just kind of gently let those knees rock a little bit. Let's take that pillow, pop it back behind your head. Don't do what I just did and whack yourself in the head with it. That was kind of fun. Um, Pull one leg back into you, grab a hold of it, reach your other leg out on a diagonal, and then switch them and switch them, pulling that leg into you. And as you're reaching that other leg out across the room, think about not letting that leg come so low that you feel any tension through your hip as you're reaching. And then pull both legs into you. And then let's reach both legs out wherever they'll go at whatever height. So your both legs reached can be straight up, can be out a little bit. If you're feeling like a challenge, it can be a little bit lower. Just make sure that your low back isn't coming off the mat. One more of those. And then pull that into you. Let your left leg go out long and straight. If it'll go there, hug this knee into you. If it'll reach straight up to the sky, go ahead and have it reach straight up to the sky. If it needs it, then do that. But just find a nice little stretch up the back of that hamstring. And if the other leg needs it, then go ahead and take it. Otherwise, reach out through that leg so you're feeling energy going through the front of your hip flexors there. And then taking a second, trying to work on straightening out that leg a little bit. If you have a TheraBand or stretching strap, this is a good place to use that just to pull this back to you a little bit. And then if you need to cross over, and then go the other way. And as you're letting it come open to the other side, make sure that feels okay on your body and make sure that the left hip's not lifting. And then come back up. Reach up through those toes, let those hands reach down at your side, cross over your body, circle around, down and come up, cross over, circle around and up, cross over, circle around and up, cross over, around and up. And then you're gonna go the other way. Inhale away, exhale around and up, inhale away, exhale around and up. Inhale away, exhale around and up. Inhale away, exhale around and up. One more of those. Inhale away, exhale around and up. Hug that knee into you, give it a little squeeze, give that leg a little circle. Slide that right leg long, pull that left leg back to you. Grab a stretch on this side. Thinking about trying to straighten out that leg, whatever bend you can get. Again, using that stretching strap or a TheraBand if you'd like. Cross over your body just a little bit if you'd like. Let your leg go the other way. And then come up, reaching up through that leg, cross. And then we're gonna go to your circle. So you're gonna cross over your body, circle around and come up, cross over, circle around and up, cross over, circle around and up, cross over, circle around and up. One more of those, and then come up, and then go the other way. One more of those, and then come up, hug that knee into you, give it a little squeeze, pull your other leg in, stir them around a little bit, take them the other way. Grab the hold behind your legs, roll yourself up the seated. Scoot back so you can let your legs go out long in front of you and let them come just a little bit further than your shoulder width apart. Reach your hands out in front of you. We're gonna go to a little spine stretch forward. If you have really tight hips or hamstrings, you could sit on your pillow and then reach your hands forward towards your toes and then roll yourself back up, stacking nice and tall. Imagining as if you're attached to the ceiling, and then roll yourself out in front of you and then roll back up, stacking nice and tall. Take that out in front of you, reaching your crown of your head across the room, and then roll back up nice and tall. One more of those. Take that out in front of you, and then lift yourself up nice and tall. Bring your feet and your knees together, and then take your left arm around and follow it behind your head. And then bring that arm back. And then take your right arm around and bring that back. Take your left arm around and bring that back. Right arm around and bring that back. Right arm around, bring that back. One more of those. And bring that back. Let your hands come down to your side. Grab the little shoulder circles here. Go the other way. This way. All right, let's go to a little bit of a clam series. So if laying on your side is not doable for you, skip this exercise. If it is, feel free to use as many pillows as you need to help get yourself comfortable. I have a tendency to think one sort of right about there is sort of the pinnacle of making this comfortable so that it's kind of almost underneath your armpit and supporting you through there, and then you can let your head rest down on that. I have earbuds in that are connecting my sound, so I'm going to keep my head lifted. And then if you look over your hips, you've got your heels, everything stacked. And then you're using this hand to make sure that you are not rocking backwards. So it's as if there's a wall right behind you here. Let this knee come open and then that closed. Open, back closed. Open, back closed. Trying not to roll backwards. One more of those. And then take that down. Float your feet up into the air just a little bit, let your knees come open and that closed. One more of those. And then let that bottom leg rest down on the ground. Your top leg is still lifted and your knees are touching your knees. And then you're going to take that so your heels touch your heels, knees touch your knees, heels touch your heels, knees touch your knees, heels touch your heels, knees touch your knees, heels touch your heels. Two more of those. And one more. And then let that rest down. Give that top leg a little stretch. And then we're gonna flip onto your other side. So wherever you land, so that your heels are directly past your glutes, let that top knee come open and that closed, open, that closed, open, that closed, open, closed. Thinking about not rolling backwards. One more of those. And then let your feet float into the air. Let your knees come open and closed, open and closed, open, closed, open, closed. One more of those. And then leave that down. Let your bottom leg rest. Leave your top leg lifted in the air, and you've got your knees touching your knees. And then you're gonna make your heels touching your heels, knees to your knees, heels to your heels. Thinking about using that strength in those glutes as you rotate. Keeping those transverse abdominals pulled in to support your back. For 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let that rest down. Give that leg a little shake. And then pop yourself up onto all fours here. If you need fists for wrists, that's fine. If you need a pillow under there, you can also do that to give yourself a little extra padding. The other option is I've got a little bit of a lip here. Sometimes letting your fingers hang down and your hands stay on there. That also sometimes helps people. So that would be sort of equivalent of doubling up a mat on all fours, that hopefully you've found a stable place. Oh, if you have knee issues and kneeling bothers you, if you put something right underneath the tops of your shins so that you were almost kneeling over this pillow, that will also help you. So many options to get into this all fours position. And since I spent so much time getting everyone comfy, let's do a few things here. One last bit of direction. When you look at the insides of your elbows, make sure that they're not locked out, but the creases in your elbows are at least facing one another. And then let's round up through your back, drawing your abdominals in, and then lower down, looking out in front of you. And then round up through your back, drawing those abdominals up, pushing the ground away, and then lowering that down, looking out in front of you. And then rounding up, and then lowering down, looking out in front of you. One more of those. And then take that down, and then bring yourself back to a flat back. Let your abdominals relax in what you would imagine the most unflattering way possible. Take a nice big inhale here to get ready. Exhale, draw those abdominals up and in to support your back. Inhale and hold all of that engagement. Exhale, pull it in even more. One more of those. Inhale here. Exhale, pull in even more. And then float your right arm out in front of you, trying not to shift your weight too much into the other hand. And then take that down. Take your left hand out in front of you. Pull that down. Right arm lifts and lowers. Left arm lifts and lowers. Right arm up and down. Left arm up and down. If that's working, slide one foot out behind you, trying not to shift right and left, and then take that down. And then your left foot out behind you and down. Right foot out and down. Left foot out and down. Right foot out and down. Left foot out and down. Let's put that all together. So push the ground away, check in with those abdominals if you need to let them relax, and then exhale, pull them up to you to find that engagement again. And then let's float that right arm and left leg out, and then take that down. And then your left arm, then your right leg out and down, right arm, left leg, and down, left arm, right leg, and down. One more time to each side. And down. And then let your right leg roll open and your left leg come up, and just find a little side plank here. Push the ground away on this side. thinking about taking a second to bring your right hip forward. And we're just going to draw the little stretch here. So if this arm, just let it travel wherever it'll go. Think about opening through your rib cage here. Depending on what your arm will give you, you can let it go way over, but you don't need to. Just take it wherever your body will let you go. And then let's sit back, bring those feet to your side, grab the hold of your ankles, see if you can find an oppositional stretch to the other side. We've done a fair amount of upper body warming up, and then take this arm down, and then spin over to this side, and then come up, lean the opposite direction, back up, and then come up, sweep your feet around. And then let's start back on all fours, but in the opposite direction. So let's do something different here to get a little bit of moving before that. So we did our opposite arm, then opposite leg, lowers and lift. So we're gonna float that out, right arm and left leg, hold out, push the ground away. This time you're gonna lower it down to tap, and then lift it back up, lower it down to tap, lift back up. 2 more of those, down to tap, back up, 1 more, down to tap, and up. Pull that arm and leg underneath you, and then float that left arm and right leg out. Lower it down and lift up. Lower it down, lift up, lower and lift, lower and lift, lower and lift. 1 more of those, lower and lift, and then take that down underneath you. Grab a little round and release. And then take that left leg out behind you. Roll that open into your kneeling side plank here. Reach that arm up to the sky. Let yourself lean over. And then bring that back. And then lean over, seeing what kind of range of motion your body will give you. And then back. And then lean. And back. 1 more of those, lean. And up. And then bring that down. Grab the hold of your ankles. Lean over to one side. Bring that back down onto the other side. Bring that back. One more of those. And then come up. And then let's come around. Bend your knees. Grab a hold of them. Find yourself tall. Round back through your neck. And then bring yourself back up. And then round back through your back. Bring yourself up. If that's working, reach your hands out in front of you. Roll back to a sticking point. And then bring yourself back up. Roll back to a sticking point. Bring yourself back up. Roll back to a sticking point and lift back up. And then let's roll back to one side and then come back up. Roll back to your other side, back up. Roll back, back up. One more of those. And then come up. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Let your knees go wide for a little stretch. And grab a few more stretches here. Just leaning yourself forward. And then come up, slide both legs out long, reach forward. And then bring that up, bring one leg around, or one leg in, wrap your arm around it. Apparently, I've officially run out of English. Slide that leg out long, bring your other leg back into you. And then come back. Let both feet go about shoulder width apart. Take your hands out to the side. Bring them forward enough that you can see them out of your peripheral vision. We're going to go to a little saw. So think about there's a wall at the end of your feet, and we're going to rotate and then bring that back to center, and then rotate the other way, and then bring that back, and then rotate and try to reach, and then come back up, rotate, reach, 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 back up. One more of those, rotate, reach, back up, rotate, reach, back up. All right, if your legs will go here, let's, two options, crisscross applesauce or stack them right one on top of the other so that they've made a triangle, and then walk yourself forward for a stretch here. And then walk back up, uncross that leg, and then walk forward. And then walk back up, grab a little shoulder circle here, tilt your head to one side, lean to the other side. Bring that back. If this feels okay, look forward and down. Gently take that back. And just gently forward and down. And then down. And then bring your head back to the middle. Look over one shoulder as far as you can. Bring that back. Look over your other shoulder. Bring that back. One more of those. Just look over a shoulder and back. Over your other shoulder and back. Sweep your feet around behind you. Sink down for a little stretch, dropping your heels down to the ground. And then reach your hips up in the air. Let yourself hang over in a forward fold. Nod your head yes. Shake it no. Soft bend in those knees. Roll up just a little bit. Grab a few arm circles here. And then take those arm circles the other way. And then roll yourself up to standing. And then just take just a quick little twist right and left. Just letting yourself kind of sway through there. And then come on back. Thank you for joining me today, everybody.